someone convicted of a felony domestic offense, the court will order firearms to be surrendered within 24 hours to a state, local police department, or federally licensed firearm dealer. The court would notify, put a notice on the conviction or on the noble plea form, and the person would have to prove that they surrendered their firearms within a certain period of time. Basically, that's the statute, and if these items are sold by the firearms dealer, the person is entitled to get some money back, etc. And basically, those are the changes. It applies to felony domestic situations. You can't, it prevents you, I'm sorry, from purchasing, owning, carrying, transporting a firearm.
Okay. And as we said, it's a duplicate of some of the points.
Absolutely, duplicate.
Very good.
Move passage.
With that moves passage of House Bill 7283, Substitute A, indefinite postponement of the original.
Yes.
That's seconded by Chairman Craven. Is there any discussion? Representative McIntyre.
I just wanted to ask you, it depends on 12-29-2, what exactly, I can't pull it up on this computer.
That's the domestic violence statute.
So it's just domestic violence, but it's not any violent felony.
Well, any violent felony is a prohibition against possession of a firearm by a convicted felon.
All right,
So this,
they don't have this 24-hour period for that.
that's correct. This is specifically referring to domestics, and that section defines what the domestic, the relationship, etc., what's considered as domestic.
Any further? Representative Jones.
I signed on as a co-sponsor of Representative O'Maury's bill originally, and noticed that as the bill was originally introduced, misdemeanor, not petty misdemeanors, but misdemeanor domestic violence crimes were also included in the requirement that guns be surrendered or not purchased. I'm not happy with that going.
Would you like that being removed from the bill? Okay, I'll make sure a form gets sent to you. Representative Coughlin?
Just a quick one, is this a perpetual ban? Or is there a time limit on the ban? Are they prohibited for a fixed amount of time after a conviction, or is that a lifetime ban?
No, it would be a lifetime.
Lifetime ban.
by the statute.
Representative McIntyre.
So the 12-29 does not include domestic violence as a misdemeanor, just a felony? I think it's both, right?
No, well, 1229-2 is the language that applies, whether the case is a felony or a misdemeanor that defines domestic. That's all. This statute particularly applies to a felony domestic. Only. There's federal law anyway that says if you had an issue that you could, a domestic, that while that domestic is pending and whatnot, if there's a restraining order, you can't have possession of a firearm.
But only on a felony. I'm just asking.
This statute applies only to felony.
But the federal law you're talking about, is that only for felonies?
That applies to both.
But when someone gets charged, and I don't want to belabor this, but when someone gets charged with domestic violence, they do not talk about whether or not they have a gun, unless the gun was used in the incident.
That's correct.
So there's no talk about.
No. The police, if there is a domestic, even if it's a misdemeanor, the police can acquire, if there are firearms in the house, they can go into the house, they can seize those and hold them while the case is pending. If the case...
But the reality of it is that they do not do that.
Well, I don't know that that's the reality of it. It happens often. I represent a lot of people with domestic misdemeanors. The police go into the house, they confiscate and seize the weapon and hold them until the case is resolved. If it is resolved successfully in your favor, you can file a motion to petition the court to get them back or send something to the police department requesting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Representative Almeida.
The sub-A, Representative O'Maury's bill, which I co-sponsored, sub A does not include misdemeanors. And that's why. Is that it here?
Yeah. Ask what this.
I believe it passes the Senate unanimously.
38-0.
All right, thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Any further discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Is there any opposition? Okay. House Bill 7283, Substitute A, passes to the floor